Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to see a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the Judge Rotenberg Center's so-called behavioral blah modification program. In fact, the JRC doesn't want you reading this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not move it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused. So, we have that linked in there. You know what to do. Read it again, share on all your social media. We also have NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. If you can spare anything, folks, please do. We are crowdfunding, just in case the JRC has the balls to see through their threat. We also got the links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri, that currently, and counting, folks, has 19 lawsuits against it. This is for so-called rebellious male teens. Okay, Karen. So, these lawsuits include sexual abuse, physical abuse, and torture, as well as exploitation of labor. I do not know what the legal term is. I cannot brain in the afternoon. So, please check out those links. We also have linked the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. We also got the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. All right. And also, warning. I can't talk. I can't brain and I can't talk. I curse a lot on this channel. There's a reason why I made it for 18 and up. If that offends you, please pause the video, but don't overlook the links. Please go to those links and see what's going on, all right? It is 4:52. I'm exhausted. It was back-to-back today. So if I stumble over my words, folks, apologies in advance. All right, so let's get started. So where we left off yesterday. Based on classroom observations, there was no evidence that language instruction as required by NYS regulations for students with autism was being provided. This is false. JRC has all required students participate in a mandating curriculum, and all autistic students receive instruction and communication through JRC's teacher and software systems for teaching communication skills. Here's what they don't tell you. Here's how they teach them how to communicate. When asked their name, they're not allowed to just simply, as a normal human being would respond, especially a neurotypical teen, with their name. That would be considered non-compliance and not using proper language. Yeah. The person has to say the whole sentence, even when it's not logical or necessary to have to do so. So why is this bad? Well, let's think about it, shall we? Neurotypical teens, your regular teens, high school teens, are fucking cruel bastards and bitches, okay? You all remember high school, right? Bunch of catty bullshit and constant drama. I was never a fan, in case you can't tell. So tell me, for teens who already look look for you for things to pick on you on. If you are communicating in a manner like that, making everything a full sentence when a phrase or a short answer is the only thing that was necessary, do you not think that they're going to be mocked for the way that they are speaking? Because guess what? I can tell you they will be. For fuck's sake, I got mocked in high school for using large words. Something like this paints a target on your back. And that's not just in high school, by the way, but that's also in a professional setting where socialization and networking may be required. And just in the everyday outside world, imagine someone asking your name in the grocery store and you read them basically an entire list. Yeah, it acts as a way to further ostracize a person, which, as we all know, discourages socialization with their neurotypical peers. Instead, it paints a target on their back. It's the same out there in the real world, by the way, folks. The whole world is a fucking high school. It never goes away. Believe me when I tell you that. So, yeah. Their communication program is not teaching them how to communicate with the outside world in a way that is not going to make them stand out like a sore fucking thumb. Okay? Therefore, their teaching is garbage. Communication and social skills are best learned in a fucking social setting where you are forced to actually interact with other people. The JRC discourages this. Remember, they have to earn the right to social situations. Yeah. Most anything that I've ever witnessed, when it's the most successful, it is teaching someone how to speak the way regular teens or the age group speaks. Then, to have that employed out in the real world environment. Computer programs and giving rote answers to teachers, it's not gonna cut it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough at all, not by anyone's fucking standards. And if you want to say, but we're doing what other special education programs do, first of all, they suck too. In case anyone's wondering. Number 2, no, you're not. Okay? No, you're not. Next one. 129. Out of 148 New York students at JRC, 128 students received no related services. The provision of related services was not observed during their either visitation. This statement is false and irresponsible when one considers the fact that NSED visitors were present at JRC for only parts of 5 days. Every student with related services required by their IEP is receiving those services at JRC. The NSED visitors should have asked the JRC administrator about this if they were truly concerned about this. Again, with, you gotta ask us. We'll tell you. What are you gonna tell us, JRC? What we want to hear? Yeah. Can I explain to you for the umpteenth millionth time what unannounced visits are? Let me tell you again. We're there to catch you with your pants down. That's pretty much what it is. We're there to see what you're actually doing. Not what you're telling us you're doing, not what you're writing in your paperwork that we're doing, not your bullshit propaganda that you push on every visitor every fucking year. We want to see what you're actually doing. And when we see that with our own eyeballs, and then we have witness statements to back it up, who's lying there? It's a whole thing with them. Are you going to believe us or your lying eyes? Sorry, JRC, I have both the background and my own eyeballs. And from what I've seen from witness testimony with NSED to back it up, NSED's not the one lying here. And what part of, if you would just ask us and we can tell you, what part of the time for you to try and cover your ass is over by the time a team like my old team is there and announced? You had the time to explain yourselves. You had the time to try to get around this. You failed. And by the time the courts got involved because of what you pulled that very year, yeah, something fishy was going on, according to NSED here, which of course it is. You can't sit there and say, if you would just let us dictate it out to you and you just understand and accept what we say. No. Actually, you will find that we very much don't. Stop with the condescension. You are not the authority in this situation. The visitors are. They are the ones with the power. But part of that's hard to understand. You have no power over that visiting team. They don't have to ask you questions. They have eyeballs. They have witness statements. They have court documents. And they have DESI reports. Okay? Stop with the bullshit. God, it's old. Not to mention the fact, you all seem to forget that there were previous visits. You think they don't have information from those visits? Are you on crack? So, what are we seeing here, folks? The JRC does not like to, they don't like to admit their failings. They'd rather convince us that theirs is the only way and we just don't understand. But it doesn't pass the smell test. When you take a look at other programs and other schools out there, it doesn't match at all. At all. There is a reason why the way these kids talk when they first come out of this place is so stunted and seems strange. It's because of how they're teaching it. It fails. It fails badly. Very badly. You want to know how I got so good at communicating and being able to come across to people? It's real simple. Being around my own kind, so to speak. It was the confidence that I got being around my own kind and being allowed to communicate back and forth with them, because they're not going to call me out on all the things a neurotypical would. Whether I'm stimming or not looking them directly in the eye, which is an autistic thing, by the way. It took me a couple of years to come up with a way around that makes everybody comfortable. I can look people in the eye, but I better fucking know the person, because otherwise I'm going to be staring right here in the middle of your forehead. Just a little comment. I like to call it tricks of the trade. Worked wonders when I had to deal with politicians. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And what I'm reading through all of this is they don't even realize just how bad their programs actually are. Not just where they're fucking brutalizing and torturing us every day of our lives, to just the very basic parts I can rip apart without much effort. So that should really tell you all you really need to know. And on that note, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out for tonight. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please, folks, don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this evening. As always, we here at Smelling Tea hope you have a good night, everyone.